At a back-to-school rally on Wednesday, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin made remarks on education. Youngkin has made parental rights in education a pillar of his politics. During the rally, Youngkin highlighted the executive orders on education from his administration, including not having, quote, inherently divisive concepts used to teach our children, and we still can teach all history, the good and the bad. During the 2021 governor's race, Youngkin ran commercials warning voters that Governor Terry McAuliffe, the Democrat incumbent, wanted to teach their children critical race theory in schools, which helped Youngkin clinch the election. GOP lawmakers have attacked left-leaning education policies since school closures during the pandemic, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed the highly controversial Parental Rights in Education bill earlier this year.
Thank you all so much for coming out today, and on an afternoon, coming after school, thank you. I hope you guys had a great day in school and learned all kinds of great stuff. You know, one of the most important things that we all are blessed with as parents are the people standing behind me. And so we want to thank all of you for being such a blessing in our lives. Thank you all. Thank you. So much fun to be in Northern Virginia today. I just want to remind you all about Northern Virginia. One, it's where I lived for a long time. But last year, nearly 1,000 people gathered together in Fairfax County, ignited by an instance where a young woman was assaulted in one of our Northern Virginia school districts. Last year, the Department of Justice decided that they were going to investigate parents as domestic terrorists for showing up at their child's school board meeting to express real concerns about schools being open to in-person education, and oh, by the way, concerns about what they were being taught. Last year, parents across the Commonwealth of Virginia and across our nation recognized that their students, their children, were being taught things that they didn't agree with. Last year, we saw Northern Virginia schools wait until August to have everybody back in person in the classroom. And last year, we saw radical politicians say that parents had no right to determine what was being taught in their children's classroom. Well, all of you and many others across the Commonwealth of Virginia stood up and said, enough. Enough. You stood together. You stood together because what matters most is what's behind me. You stood together because we all recognized the core truth in our children's education. Parents matter. That's what we concluded. It was a defining moment last year. It was a defining moment for education. It was a defining moment for parents. It was a defining moment for students. It was a defining moment for teachers. It was a defining moment that will not just forever shape our current students' lives, but it was a moment that will shape the lives of future generations of Virginians. I have to tell you, when you all honored me by hiring me and Winsome and Jason and giving us a majority in our House of Delegates and electing sheriffs and local representatives across the Commonwealth of Virginia, you made a statement that you expected us to go to work for you. And we went to work on day one. We went to work on day one. We took a giant step forward with Executive Order number 1 that says we will not have inherently divisive concepts used to teach our children, and we still can teach all history, the good and the bad, all of it. All of it. Executive Order number 2 reaffirms your rights as parents to make decisions for your kids. Executive Order number 4 authorized an investigation of the Loudoun County School Board by our Attorney General. We had so many of our friends carry legislation for us that passed on a bipartisan basis. Senate Bill 739 that empowered parents to make decisions with regards to the fact if their child wants to wear a mask or doesn't want to wear a mask. Senate Bill 656 that said if the materials in the school are sexually explicit and you don't agree with them, you can request an alternative set of materials, empowering parents further. We passed the Virginia Literacy Act. The Virginia Literacy Act brought a whole new framework to educating children how to read, K through 3rd literacy. How about that for a concept, Madam Lieutenant Governor? We passed the largest budget, and I had the great privilege of signing, for education. Teacher raises, funding for schools. Oh, by the way, lab schools that introduce choice within the public school system. We reestablished the tax credit scholarship funds so that families can choose to go outside the public school system. And oh, by the way, as Jason said, $45 million to make sure that there can be a school resource officer present in high schools and in middle schools and every other elementary school across the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I believe there should be a school resource officer in every school in Virginia. And as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, we were able to shine a bright light on the basic falsehood that had been spread, that Virginia's kids were doing just fine in school. And the reality is that when they lowered standards and lowered expectations year after year after year, Virginia's kids suffered. And so we are committed. Our commitment to Virginians is to reestablish excellence in education. Excellence in education. We went to work on day one. Friends, this is all about empowering parents. This is all about addressing your concerns. This is all about safety in schools, curriculum in schools, the decline in standards, and reestablishing expectations of excellence. We can raise the ceiling and the floor. We do both. Together, we're doing just that. Restoring your rights, freedom to parent as you see fit. So we've made great progress. We've made great strides. But we still have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. Because once again, Northern Virginia has become ground zero. Once again. Despite the resounding statement made by Virginians last year, we see teachers' unions. We see political partisans right here in Fairfax County trying to stop parents' progress to regain their right, their fundamental right to make decisions for their children. Forcing masks back in schools. That's right. Let me just be clear. There are some right here in Fairfax County that actually believe that 2.5 years after the pandemic, that they can again mandate masks back in schools. But let me be clear. Let me be clear. They must not have gotten the real memo. The real memo. Because Virginia law is clear. And let me just tell you, the bill that was sent to my desk and that I signed permits the parent of any child in the public school system enrolled across the Commonwealth of Virginia to elect for such child to not wear a mask on school property. Full stop. That's it. That's it. If there's any confusion, that's in Virginia law. And oh, by the way, I think it's really important because the crafters of this bill on a bipartisan basis added very clearly, no parent making such an election shall be required to provide a reason. No parent making such an election should be required to certify whether their child has any reason for this. And no child whose parent has made this decision should face adverse disciplinary or academic consequences. Folks, they're protected to make sure that you can exercise your rights. No doubt. These same progressives in Fairfax County actually believe that they should lock parents out of their children's lives. They think that parents have no right to know what your child is discussing with their teacher or their counselor, particularly when some of the most important topics that a child may want to discuss are being determined. What's their name? What pronoun will they use? How are they going to express their gender? This is a decision that bureaucrats in Fairfax County believe that they should be able to make without telling parents. We have to recognize that we have to meet every child where they are. Every child deserves parents' full understanding of what's going on in their lives and a parent's involvement in these decisions. We also have to recognize the reality that teachers play such an extraordinary role. But I will say, thank you, because I agree wholeheartedly. I cannot believe that bureaucrats and administrators can tell teachers to engage in these discussions and allow these decisions to be made without informing a parent. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. And by the way, across the Commonwealth of Virginia in November, Virginians said enough. And here we are again. And so with every ounce of my authority as governor, and I know with every ounce of her authority as lieutenant governor and every ounce of his authority as attorney general, we're going to go to work in order to protect parents' rights and to make sure that there's transparency, to make sure that parents are fully informed and that parents make these most important decisions in conjunction with their child, not a bureaucrat, a politician. So, here we are, about 7.5 months since January 15th. I've said this everywhere I've gone, and I will say it again. Thank you for hiring me, and thank you for hiring this great team. Thank you. Thank you. We have a ton of work to continue to do. Relentless is what we will be. But that requires all of us together to get this done. Let's remind ourselves why we're doing it. It's for the future of our children. That's why we're going to work. Thank you so much for giving up time on your busy schedules to come out here and focus on what's most important in Virginia, our children. Parents matter. God bless you. God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much.